Welcome to Hello Malaysia. I am your host, Surati Sanusi, and today, in conjunction with International Day of Happiness, we have a topic, and it is called Happiness and Well-Being, Defining a New Economic Paradigm. Now, what does that mean? How could happiness create a better economic condition for the country? So, together with us today, we have Datin Paduka Dr. Dahlia Rosli, the Director General of Federal Department of Town and Country Planning, to be with us and to explain to us how happiness could be contributing to the economy. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much, Surati.
Right.
On behalf of our ministry, I would like to thank you for inviting us here.
You're welcome.
Hello Malaysia.
Right.
To invite for me to share on happiness and well-being, and also in conjunction with the International Day of Happiness.
Right.
Yeah. So perhaps just to overview what we do.
Right.
So the Federal Town and Country Planning Department, we do plans and guidelines. So doing plans on the strategic level, the National Physical Plan. We have urbanization policies as well. But we also do initiatives that are on the ground, which are more people-centric, people-oriented.
Right.
And this is also very much related to well-being and happiness. Yeah. So actually, when you talk about happiness, everybody knows about happiness. In fact, when we started our initiative in about 2010, doing our study on happiness index, we were quite surprised to know that in about 2 years, United Nations also
will create a day.
Yeah, create a day, and also they have a World Happiness Report, which was launched in 2012. That was just the same time that we are also publishing our results.
Right.
So we were happy that we are in the same, same
page
and in tandem with what United Nations are doing.
Right.
Yeah, and also suddenly, also last year, happiness, the happy song.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
So that was quite exciting for us as well. Yeah, so I think when you talk about happiness, it is actually subjective.
Very subjective.
And everybody knows, everybody wants to be happy.
Right.
But we in planning try to create happiness through planning.
Right.
Through what we plan, through physical planning and land use planning. And also, when you talk about well-being and quality of life, that is actually our focal point, what we want to achieve to do. Yeah, for communities in urban and also rural areas.
Right.
So back on the United Nations, initiative. Yeah. So Ban Ki-moon actually has also highlighted on happiness, and he says it is subjective. It means different to different people, but we can all agree it means that we are working to reduce unfortunate conditions. Yeah, for people, for many of our fellow human beings.
Right.
Including people talking about conflicts, about poverty, about inequality, and so on.
Right.
Yeah? So and when you talk about happiness, we talk in the context of the how do you put it in line with the progress and also prosperity debate. Because at the moment, when you're talking about countries, developing countries, we focus a lot on economy.
Right.
We focus a lot on GDP.
Yes.
Yeah? But Bhutan, this is cliche, but Bhutan was the first to introduce gross national happiness. Which was quite exciting, I think, for the world.
Why is that?
Yeah, because now they do not use GDP, which is very conventional, which only focuses on economy as such, But to them, to have a happy community, there is also a value to that, and how do you can even, in a way, monetize, people's happiness and prosperity, and when doing that, they could achieve a balance between economic objectives and also social objectives. So they have what they call G and H. So the progress of the country is now measured not by GDP, but gross national happiness. Yeah. So that was very interesting, and I think people-centric approaches. And also, when you're talking about sustainable communities, I think that goes in line really, and also to Agenda 21 people. Yeah.
Right. So you mentioned that happiness is very subjective, and it's different to different people and different to different countries. And now, as Malaysia, we are a developing country. Obviously, we are more focusing on economic side, but there must be a real reason why happiness should be given important view or focus as well, not only to the economic side, also on happiness.
Like I said earlier, a happy community
Right.
becomes a productive community.
Okay.
Yeah, even in terms of government spending, happy, healthy communities, they would need less resources, perhaps. You know.
Okay.
So in that sense, happy communities, happy people are asset to the government. Yeah. So when you talk about the economy, there are a lot of ways that you can create wealth.
Okay.
Yeah, you can, for instance, you can develop, you can reclaim, for instance,
Right.
coastal area.
Right.
You can do lots of the billions of
Businesses.
development. Yeah.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, when you do that, you would compromise the environment. You would also be displacing people, the fishermen,
Right.
for instance. Yeah. How do you equate that to economy? So
Right.
you have to factor that in as well.
Okay.
The social impacts of economic activities. So I think if you actually do an index to show how unhappy people who are
Certain
displaced
people,
are, so
yeah.
maybe there are mitigating measures you can do, or perhaps you would opt not to do
Right.
a certain action,
Based on
development and so
the findings that you have.
Yeah.
But talking about findings, how do you measure happiness? Being a subjective matter, how do you
Yeah,
measure?
it
Do you
is.
go to people and ask them,
Yes, we do that. It's quite difficult because we try to sort of also benchmark
Okay.
with international studies. Yeah, so Britain has done it. A lot of other countries in Europe,
Right.
and in the US. Yeah, so we try to adopt and adapt in the Malaysian sense. Yeah,
Okay.
and we did ask people through their residents association. We had 44,500 questionnaires
Okay.
distributed throughout the country. So I think that was quite exciting then, going down enumerators, But to us, it is a balance of economy, social, and also environment when we ask a question.
Right.
And we asked people about, how do you rank your stress level? So it's interesting to know people in Putrajaya will
Right.
say something else, but people in the
KL, in the heart of KL.
yeah, KL different, and in the rural areas will be different, ranking stress levels. And we asked whether they are happy in their workplaces,
Okay.
in the workplace, on monthly income, and also we try to find whether they have good relationships with their neighbors.
Okay.
So very simple questions, but
Right.
actually it explains. It creates awareness, and also it explains the relationship between you
People.
and your neighbor, and
Right.
people and communities.
Right.
And we asked about, do you enjoy it when you get involved
In
your
activities, in events.
community?
Okay.
Yeah, very simple as well.
Right.
Weekends, community gardening, for
Right,
instance. Yeah.
Right. So what based on your findings, what conclusions can you tell us about Malaysia itself? Because I think I read somewhere in the newspaper, if I'm not mistaken, they said the happiest place in Malaysia right now is Perlis. That's what I heard. Why is that? Why if people in Perlis are very, very happy,
Yeah.
considering other places in Malaysia?
Yeah, we asked those questions, the same questions.
Right.
We asked also about safety, about whether they're happy with their living environment, and so on and so forth. But for rural areas, for Perlis, we got very high marks for people who are happy with their community
Okay.
and with their neighbors and with family. So, I think it is a lifestyle in the
Right.
rural areas. Where you meet up very frequently, and you share community activities,
Right.
for instance. And I think the community cohesion is very close.
Can
in
you
the
tell
rural
us which state that is not really happy with the way they're living right now?
Actually, we did for categories of local authorities.
Okay.
For the cities like KL, Putrajaya, Shah Alam. We also do for municipal, Klang, and also for the rural areas, Majlis Daerah, the district council. And we found that we gave a ranking more than 80 is happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So over 100.
Over 100.
Okay.
Yeah. So Actually, we found that in Pahang, in Pahang, Pekan and Raub district councils have 80%.
So they're happy. They're content.
They're happy. I mean,
Right.
it's debatable. People say, "Oh, you're not asking the right questions," you know.
Right.
So
Based on the findings.
yeah,
Yes.
and we found also this was very interesting. We said Baling got like 84%.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Baling, and somebody said, "Oh, how can that be?" You know, but when we looked at the indexes again, you know, on community, on neighborhood cohesion,
Okay.
family. And also very interesting on spirituality, not religion, but you
Right.
ask a question. You know, how, is there any role of spirituality?
Okay.
And in
the community.
in the community, in you as
yourself.
in yourself, and you find that the rural areas score a lot on this.
Oh, okay.
So well, maybe they are more, you know. It's about faith, maybe.
Okay.
So
Or maybe a little bit peaceful, not so
peaceful.
not so rushed like KL.
Yeah. Peaceful, less stress also, because we have a question, you know, how stressed are you in your workplace? And so and also perhaps you were saying the environment, you know, you have maybe the beach,
Right.
you have the mountains and trees,
Right.
so
that plays a big role in the happiness index. So do you do this survey yearly?
Yeah, we do this every year.
Okay.
So we announce, I think in September, November, you know, we collect our information, starting like the Q1, you know, February, March, April.
Right.
And this is quite, and we share this information, you know. So it's very interesting to know that local authorities themselves are trying to, you know, trying to look into the indexes and our questions.
Right.
And,
So, okay, based on the findings, let's say you do another survey and you find those places which were happy before, there's a decline in numbers. What would the department do, or the ministry would do, to actually either bring it up or, you know, make sure that the other places doesn't get declining as well?
Yeah, I think it's very useful because you can actually identify what are the gaps and which questions. Perhaps maybe as an example, we never had really the experience, you know, to actually fill the gaps, just to show to the local authorities. Maybe if they lack on community cohesion,
right,
you could possibly, you know, recommend for this local authority to have community activity, urban gardening, I don't know, weekend meets and so on. Maybe so they know that the gap is on community ties.
Right.
You know?
So basically, the department will be working hand in hand with the municipality, with the local municipality, and work together how to bring about for possibly an event or bring about the happiness index. And how, okay, fine. Now that you find all these findings, some places are happier than the others. Would you like try and error by doing whatever is making this place happier to other places? Would you do that kind of test? Per se?
Test or replicate whatever.
Right.
Yeah, we would.
Right.
This is cycling. Cycling makes
people happy.
happy.
Right. Anything that gets the
physical
adrenaline up.
well-being. Yeah. So, and this also ties in with other initiatives that we're doing. Green initiatives, whereby we encourage people to walk and to cycle.
Right.
And I mentioned earlier, community gardening.
Right.
To put people together, something which is cost effective and not too expensive.
And I think like KL, they have this KL Car Free Day every first week and third week. So probably that will be part of the initiative as well.
That is initiative by Datuk Banda, by the mayor. But this is replicated throughout, actually.
I see.
Many other local authorities also do this, encouraging to cycle.
Right.
And also now trying to improve their initiative on cycling, cycle paths and so on. Yeah.
Okay, right. We have to go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk more on happiness right here on Hello Malaysia.
My precious little Nita. Why did you leave me? How hard I try, my pain does not go away. My child has become a victim because of me.
Pakcik, boleh saya tolong?
We cannot change the past, but we can protect our future if we act now.
Menongkah batasan masa, mengupas isu semasa, menjadi saluran pelbagai suara, segalanya baru dan benar di Berita Bernama TV.
Current issues, latest headlines, illuminating visuals, everything right and now on Bernama News.
And welcome back to Hello Malaysia with me, Sue, and also Datin Paduka Dr. Dahlia Rosalie, the Director General of Federal Department of Town and Country Planning, and we are talking about happiness in conjunction with International Day of Happiness. Now, this year, the theme for International Day of Happiness is happiness and well-being, defining a new economic paradigm. So that's a long one with big words over there. So probably, Doctor, you can actually explain what is it all about.
I think this is also in line with what we've been discussing just now, to balance between economy and also social. And also gross national happiness, to put in the social aspect in development. So I think this new economic paradigm, I think we have been talking about this for some time, not only in the context of International Day of Happiness, but also in the context of Agenda 21, Rio +5 +10, Rio +20.
Yes.
They're talking about sustainable development goals, of which sustainable communities are very much in focus.
Right.
So, and also people economy.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not just economy per se.
Right. Not only money. It's not money.
Yeah, it's not money. It's
Right.
It's not material.
Right.
Just material, but
Right.
it's also people and people happiness and
Right.
how
Feelings,
do we the feelings. Yeah, and you know the environment that you live in.
Okay. So that's part of the happiness. So when is International Day of Happiness celebrated?
It is celebrated on the 20th of March every year.
Okay.
So this has started since 2013. So this is on the third year. Yeah. So what people do usually in other countries, they create activities, distributing pamphlets, happy notes, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, and what makes people happy in the morning.
Right.
Yeah, so I think free meals, breakfast,
Right.
and perhaps other activities like we were talking just now. What in Malaysia would make people
Happy.
happy in the
Right,
morning.
right.
Yeah? So perhaps we'll say, oh, maybe we could provide feeder bus services, public
Okay.
transport. You know,
Right.
people might
Less traffic.
Yeah, people might be like first thing in the morning, feel
Right.
happy about that.
Right.
And also, you know, breakfast and also happy notes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So those are on the soft part, but
Right.
on the planning part, how can you plan for it in the long term? Yeah. So yes, for town and country planning, we have our plans and guidelines, and we have also a guideline called Guideline for Crime Prevention through Environmental Design.
Okay.
So I was thinking, why not happiness through environmental design?
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, the way we design places, it should be community centric. People meet, and people are connected. Yeah.
And can you give me example, like any country that the happiness index is way above average, that we can actually adapt or adopt for us in Malaysia?
It varies actually. They hover around like 80%, 84%, but there is regional variation.
Okay.
Like maybe for UK, maybe Bristol
I see.
is happier. They also have their own their indicators. Yeah?
Right.
So it's regional variation.
Right.
So but perhaps people not in the big city, congested city, yeah, maybe they are happier
Right.
in places which are calmer and where community is more cohesive.
Right.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that during this day, most countries would, like you said, sending good thoughts and notes and things like that. Are we doing anything for Malaysia?
Last year we wanted to do something, yeah, but like happy notes, free breakfast, and some events. Yeah. And this year we might be trying to do something that involves community.
Right.
Again, where communities can get together, gardening.
What will be the
cycling.
popular one? I think will be running events,
Running events,
cycling,
cycling.
right?
I'm always like for urban gardening.
Okay.
When you do that, in somewhere in Shah Alam, I think they're doing it, and
Right.
every weekend they harvest their
The
veggies,
gardens, okay.
and they give it free to the public.
Really?
So I'd be very happy to
Yes.
get free veggie and
Why not?
organic and so
Right.
on. So maybe on that part, and you can consume it as well.
Right.
And you are together for every weekend, and you get closer. So what else? Public transport perhaps.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna. For this year, do you have any plans for this year? Not only for the day,
yeah.
but throughout the year. What will be the planning?
Yeah, we have what we call green and happy initiatives.
Okay.
We've got 5. We have actually mobilized for a few years, and we give awards. It's to do also with low carbon society and community.
Right.
So cycling, like you said, walking, so footpaths and so on, urban gardening, rainwater harvesting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's the first I've heard.
Yeah, and also composting.
Okay.
Composting, and also it keeps people
yeah.
together. And
Right.
yeah.
How could can you explain a little bit on the rain harvest? Rain collecting.
Yeah, rain collecting is more on the wise use of water, which
Right.
generally
Okay.
some well-being.
How could that be a community activity?
Okay, there are places where you collect the rainwater for your own consumption or community consumption. There are
Okay.
communities that wash their car together.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So and also can use the water for gardening for the
Okay.
neighborhood.
Right.
So in that case also it spreads out to the community or housing area or neighborhood.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And based on the International Day of Happiness, so I know that to do this happiness or the happiness index, it's not something really new. It's new to us in Malaysia. It's not new for people probably in UK. So, based on their findings, what kind of results have they found with the index? We are kind of crawling still, but what have they achieved with the results that they have with the test or with the index?
Yeah, actually we are not that behind.
Right.
But yeah, we are almost the same as I think UK started in 2010,
Okay.
2009. We started slightly
Later.
maybe a year after. But we have more or less Sue, the same criteria.
Okay.
That what we asked just now.
Okay.
What is how do you rank your stress levels
Okay.
in where you're living, your workplace, whether you're happy there, and also your job, and relationship with neighbors, relationship with community, with your family, safety, and also living environment.
Right.
In general, yeah. And also we have, these are all the main points, but
Okay.
in the actual survey we do ask about, are you happy with your existing political representatives?
Okay.
So that was, we thought, very interesting.
Right.
Yeah, because that can be used to say, oh, which
Yes,
representative,
right, doing
should-
their job and
doing
not
their
doing
job,
their
yeah,
job.
which are the
Okay.
ones are doing the job. So
Right.
we have also on governance,
Okay.
and whether people are happy with their local authority services
Right.
as well.
And the people that you approach to do all this survey, it comes from all walks of life, different ages.
Yeah, yeah. We do cluster sampling. So
Okay.
it's distributed Semenanjung and also in
Sabah Sarawak.
Sabah Sarawak.
Okay.
Yeah. So actually, we are the ones. We have an operations unit.
Right.
Yeah, who does this? So enumerators go to every local authority, and we teach them
Right.
how to ask the questions and what answers they should. Yeah. So it is representative, so to say, within 44,000 questionnaires. And we go down to the, as I had mentioned earlier, to the residents association. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe across the board. Across
Okay.
the board.
And how long do you think should be at least 2 or 3 years to get an idea that certain places need some help in their happiness? How long does it take a survey to be done for you to determine whether the place needs some improvement, or we can do a little bit more or a little bit less here, or adapt, or things like that? How long does it take?
Actually, within the year, you can actually know.
No, okay.
You know where are the gaps for certain local authorities.
Okay.
So perhaps you could, maybe if it recurs for the third year.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Something must be done.
Yeah.
Must be
Yeah.
done. Okay.
Yeah. So maybe 3 years is a good time. But some local authorities are quite proactive. The moment they see, we have what we call red alerts.
Okay.
Red alerts in where they are lagging.
Right.
On the
So you
happiness
you
side.
categorize all the survey questions, right? So and that from that survey you would give to the relevant people, and they would take action based on areas that need to be improved. Is that so?
Yes, on areas of concern that needs to be
Right.
to be
Can
improved.
you name me a few areas which you have segregated?
Well, let's Putrajaya,
Okay.
perhaps maybe they are not too high
Okay.
on happiness and on stress.
Okay.
I think they score a lot on stress.
Okay. Score a lot on stress is not good.
Yeah.
So they should be scoring less on
Yeah,
stress.
so
Okay.
so we were thinking, yeah, it's okay, but they have like cycling events
Right.
and so on. Maybe
They,
that
they have
would,
a lot of running events over there.
yeah.
in
So
Putrajaya.
that would probably balance the stress.
Okay.
So I think for communities which are stressed, they should be organizing.
Right.
Active
Lifestyle.
Yeah. Active
Okay,
lifestyle.
so basically in the survey, the questions would be divided. For example, this is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So the question would be divided into politics, social life,
yeah.
Uh,
Health.
employment,
Yeah.
health.
Yeah. Employment.
So let's say they score low or high. That means score badly in health. So that will be given to the relevant people for them to take action.
Yeah, to the local authorities.
Okay.
Yeah, because this information, the information provided are the local authorities.
Okay.
Yeah, so we give the results to them,
Right.
and they see the red alerts, and they will do actions to rectify.
Right, but my question is how important it is for them to ramp up their effort by seeing the results. If they say, okay, you know what, even though it's a red alert, I think we can still let go. I mean, what would your department do if they decided to, put it on hold rather than looking at it?
From our experience, we've done this for about 3 years. The local authorities are very quick to,
Take action.
take action. Like Putrajaya, oh, okay, we are not scoring that much,
Okay.
and they do, and the next year that there is improvement.
Right.
For instance, so
Do you advise? Do you consult with them in things that they need to do, or
Yeah.
do you just give them results?
we do. We can advise them or recommend what are the things to be done
Right.
to fill the gaps.
And you work together with them to make sure that the index go higher, or it all depends, or it's all up to the
there is communication.
Okay.
There is communication with them, but the actual implementation
will be done
by the local authorities. I
Okay.
think based on our suggestions,
Advice, okay.
advice and suggestions. Yeah.
Okay, right, and we have to go for another short break, and when we come back we'll talk more on this matter right here on Hello Malaysia.
Terima kasih. Sama-sama. Terima kasih. Sama-sama. Terima kasih. Sama-sama.
Terima kasih.
Sama-sama.
Terima kasih.
Sama-sama. Sama-sama.
Satu cerita, satu bangsa, satu Malaysia.
And welcome back to Hello Malaysia with me, Sue, and Datin Paduka Dr. Dahlia Rosalie. And we're talking about what happiness is all about. And before we went for a break, we were talking about stress level at certain places. And during the breaks, we were, Datin Paduka mentioned that, you know, besides Putrajaya, she mentioned that another place where people have stress is also PJ, but which I understand because I live in PJ as well. So I know there's a lot of constructions over there right now. Massive jam. And by saying that, you know, development is development. It must be done. And construction would take 5 years, 6, 10 years. So how stress level will always be there. So how do you go about making sure that stress level is still there because of the construction and the traffic jam? So how do you, you know, balance that out? Give an example, Petaling Jaya.
Yeah, this is very interesting. I think a lot of big cities also suffer from the process of development.
Yes.
Yeah, and of course, for it to be developed in 10 years or so, you have to go through the construction period.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is what PJ
is all about right now.
Is experiencing.
Right, with the MRT, especially on the MRT construction.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, when you're talking about roads or MRT, of course, you have impacts such as noise levels,
Traffic jams,
visual intrusion, you know.
Right.
Yeah, so for the noise, I mean, I think the only way, best way is to
reduce the noise.
Reduce the noise.
Right.
You can mitigate the noise levels.
How do you mitigate noise? I mean, noise is still noise, especially if you have to bang concretes and you know, piles and piles of concretes. How do you mitigate noise?
Yeah, construction noise is very difficult to mitigate.
Yes.
But usually when you want to mitigate noise from the highways or
Right.
from LRT or from the MRT, we do have noise barriers.
Okay.
At stretches where it is
roads.
most vulnerable,
Mhm.
near houses and so on. So that is one way.
Then I think safety should be given focus as well.
Yeah, safety as well. There's a lot of stories about safety,
Right.
or the lack of safety during construction. Yeah, and also visual intrusion.
Right.
Yeah, that also can be mitigated.
Right.
If you see some redevelopment areas, they have boards, but they have painted
Yes,
the boards,
pictures, right.
Yeah, that's superficial, but it helps a little, I
to
suppose.
cover our
Yeah.
eyes with the development that they're having over
Yeah,
there.
but this is a challenge, when
Right.
when you want to achieve economic progress,
Right.
you have a lot of social impacts also. But it is very important to address these impacts.
Situation.
Yeah, situation.
Right, and so far, I think everything is under control, right? As far as what the reports are coming into your department.
Well, generally, I mean, there are reports of accidents and so on. This is very usual in any construction.
Anywhere in the world,
even
yeah.
in Singapore, but they do not report, perhaps, but
Mhm.
I think we are quite open, and now there's the social media and everything.
Right.
So we are very closely monitored, and we can actually pick up a lot of information on the ground, very much in real
So
time.
it's not only survey that you'll be doing. Is that you pick it up from social media as well? Is that what the department is doing?
For the surveys, we are depending just on the questionnaires.
Okay.
Yeah, so we do not input from the social media.
Okay.
Yeah. But there are other initiatives whereby information from the social media can be used, and we use them.
And you take
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, we take them. Yeah, like impact on social impacts and so on.
Right. And you
Yeah.
mentioned about sustainable communities. Now, what is sustainable community means first?
Yeah, sustainable communities. This is like very cliche when people talk sustainable
Yes,
development, but
right.
yeah, actually, people say, oh, it's a balance between economic activities, economic, social, and environment. But actually, that's what it is. Trying
Right.
to find the best balance.
Right.
So sustainable communities. Whatever happens, in that community as per economic activity, must also take into consideration the
Okay.
impacts on the local people.
Okay.
Yeah. So in BM, the translation is community sejahtera.
Okay.
So it is also related to happiness.
Right.
Yeah? So well-being is to do with well-being.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I know there's a few initiatives or few activities being done to make sure that we have sustainable communities. So I think there's one, it's called My Beautiful Neighborhood.
Yes.
So what is that all
My
about?
Beautiful Neighborhood. This is another very exciting initiative. This is one of the initiative under the National Blue Ocean Strategy.
Okay.
Yeah, under this new Blue Ocean Strategy, we identify projects which are which can be done very rapidly.
Okay.
Yeah, and also very impactful.
And this involves community, not the town, the department, or both?
The communities, we are like we are the secretariat. So
Okay.
we connect people, we connect agencies for this to happen.
Mhm.
So My Beautiful Neighborhood, there are many components, but the components like maybe all of us can relate to is on public housing, upgrading underserved public housing areas.
Right.
Yeah, painting the old buildings, painting just to make it.
But it's a community
happen.
effort.
It's a community effort as well as the funding comes from the government.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for instance, like we built children's playground.
Okay.
So the funds from the government.
Right.
But the community will have to come in
Right.
also.
What
to maintain.
what would they have to do to maintain it?
They will
clean it up.
clean it up together, and maintain every week, every time.
Right.
And also like other like paint works. Yeah, we provide and we
Paints.
paint. Yeah, with government as well as communities.
Right.
And in this my beautiful neighborhood, what is important is to get the ownership
place.
of the place
I see.
by the people.
Right. It's not that you just staying there, so you own the place and you love where you're staying.
Yes.
Okay.
So whatever initiative that we spend there, maybe you spend like 1 million for painting, for upgrading, we there is somebody, a leader in the community,
right, to take care.
To take care.
Right.
And you know, it's very interesting also. They have.
Can you give examples where we can actually see this initiative?
Oh, there's many. There's hundreds of initiatives on my
In
beautiful
KL?
level in KL. I remember I've been to Maran, you know, in Pahang.
Okay.
In KL also, and also. We have a list. I think I do not know whether my secretariat has brought it, but maybe you can shoot.
We can show it on the screen.
Yeah. So
the places that they have done with My Beautiful Neighborhood. And so far, what will be the feedback from the residents of this My Beautiful Neighborhood?
Very good, because it makes the place more vibrant.
Right.
And in most cases, because you know this public housing is usually related to you know, lack of safety. You know, so improve safety.
Right. And I think they share the responsibility together rather than just, you know, it's your job, it's not my problem. I think
it's also like the broken window syndrome.
Okay.
You know, when there is a broken window, you must fix it quickly.
Right.
Before it gets worse.
Yes.
So it's in line with that concept as well.
Right.
And I think it has been very successful. And this is under my ministry, the Ministry of Urban Wellbeing, Housing and Local Government.
Right, and there's also another one. I think this one I probably like green neighborhood initiatives. So what does that mean?
Yeah, this was the one that I mentioned.
Right,
the 5
earlier.
initiatives.
Yeah.
Actually, our department, we have a guideline on green neighborhood development, and we have a lot of action plans how about to do it. And we chose 5 which are like low-hanging fruits, very easy to do.
Okay.
Yeah, so the cycling, the footpath, rainwater harvesting, composting, urban gardening, and we give an award every year.
Okay.
To all local authorities, to all the local authorities who participate. So this is also very exciting. For the last 3 years, we're saying that, you know, we can see the movement.
The initiative being done.
Yeah, like Shah Alam now starting to do cycle tracks. I mean, maybe it's not directly related to our award, but I think we have actually certainly
ramped up this initiative.
And also raised awareness. And of course, they'll be very happy to get these awards, you know.
Yeah,
and
for
I
the
think,
place.
and
it
also
gives them
the
pride.
And also I think the competition is very healthy, and we can see. And 3 years ago when we were talking about community gardening, we said, oh, it's plants, is it? You know, So now you can see a lot of improvement. CBOs and NGOs as well, and also local residents, you know, doing this urban gardening.
Right.
And this is in line also with, I think, the whole of Europe is doing local food production.
Okay.
You know, the theory is that, you know, if you're talking about reducing carbon, if you grow your own food stuff in your neighborhood, you don't need lorries. You don't need lorries from Cameron Highlands,
to drag
and pollute the
environment
for instance. So that's the politics of
grow your own food.
Grow your own food, and it's become very big now all over.
Okay, we have another one, but we have to go for another short break. So when we come back, we'll speak more on happiness right here on Hello Malaysia.
I travel not because I like to travel. I travel so I can say this: what you're looking for is inside of you, and you should be in peace.
Prem Rawat has been traveling for 40 years, inspiring people around the world to find peace within.
I go and I talk to people, and I present them with the possibility of themselves discover the peace that lies within you.
Catch Bernama Today every weekday from 9 a.m. onwards for the latest news, lifestyle stories, interesting personalities, only on Bernama TV.
Dibelenggu kebankrapan semuanya bukan pilihan. Saya pernah cuba dibantu, namun saya tidak hiraukannya kerana saya merasakan MDI akan bertindak kejam terhadap saya. Sehinggalah kebankrapan mula mengganggu hidup saya. Saya hilang punca untuk meneruskan kehidupan. Akaun saya dibekukan. Apa nasib keluarga saya? Selama ini saya menyangka MDI zalim yang membangkrapkan saya. Ternyata sangkaan saya meleset sama sekali.
Jabatan Insolvensi Malaysia, bukan kami yang membangkrapkan anda. Jangan takut atau risau untuk tampil ke depan. Berilah kerjasama agar kami dapat membantu anda. Layari www.insolvency.gov.my.
Welcome back to Hello Malaysia with me, Sue, and Datin Paduka Dr. Dahlia Rosalie. And we're talking about happiness. And before we went for a bit, we're talking about what makes, what it was the initiative, or what is, or what are the initiatives for the sustainable communities. So we talk about My Beautiful Neighbourhood, and we talk about Green Neighbourhood initiatives. So the last one, I think the most important one, and I think that will bring a lot of relief to everyone, is this Safe City program. I think you're very proud of it.
Yes. The Safe City program is actually under the NTRA.
Okay.
Yeah, and JPBD, my department, and also my ministry is a focal point for this.
Okay.
Actually, we have done what we call the Safe City monitoring system. Yeah, this is a data bank for information on crime. And we collaborate with the Royal Malaysian Police.
Okay.
And you can actually, by using this system, you can actually identify where are the the hot spots,
really?
You know.
Okay.
Yeah, and in real time, so you can
Okay.
actually monitor. And this is very useful, and I think it has to a certain extent reduce
crime rates.
Crime rates, especially because this is street crime on the
Okay,
snatching and so on.
Theft.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're doing that, and we have received quite many excellence award. Actually,
Because of that.
Yeah, because of the system.
Okay.
Yeah, which is and we have won the Commonwealth Association for Public Administration KPAM award
Right.
in 2014. Yeah. So that's on the safe cities, and we're
Right.
still doing it.
Can you probably elaborate what kind of system, how the system works?
The
Safety system.
The safety system.
Yeah.
This is called the Safe City Monitoring System.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you go about? I mean, is it by?
It's by local authorities.
Right.
We have information from the police for all the local authorities where are the hot spots. Like for instance, in Selayang.
Okay.
In Selayang, where is the most dangerous area? We can actually generate from our system.
Okay.
And when that happens, then we can actually focus more. The police will focus on that area.
Right.
Yeah,
so more on the cooperation with the police.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about the Center of Excellence of Happiness, which the first time I heard it was like, okay, you go there and start feeling happy because it's Center of Excellence. So, but what is it all about?
Yeah. Actually, my department, we are the focal point for land use planning.
Okay.
Yeah. And also planning for sustainable communities, sustainable development, and in the country, Federal Department of Town and Country Planning under the Ministry of Urban Wellbeing, Housing and Local Government. So we've got the local governments in there as well, and urban wellbeing. So we are fortunate in our department to have actually many experts.
Okay.
At the moment, we've got quite a lot of people who've done research in various fields. So and in the context of experts on well-being.
Okay.
So we put them together. And we have experts on GIS system. We have experts on environment, on social, on community development.
Right.
And also other like related to economies.
Right.
Urban
So
economies.
the Center of Excellence will produce not only the results but ways to maintain happiness.
Yes. Actually, what we are, it is research based.
Okay.
So we'll be doing surveys, finding what are the perceptions of people. Actually, our main objective is to find urban solutions.
Okay.
Urban solutions. Some are not new, but
Okay.
those who are not new, we can value add. So, and also maybe perhaps advising on policy directions for urban areas to the government, and also incorporating all those issues, the urban issues and public transport, you know, and safety, congestion in the city area, and also housing, affordable housing, connectivity, and so on and so forth. So we do research, we have empirical studies, we also create awareness and also teach people capacity building, and of course showcasing as well some of our activities.
Okay, right.
So it is actually a group of people, a group of research people who are very expert in land use planning and also sustainable communities.
Right, putting their heads together.
Yeah, and also putting information together, because we have what we call the one-stop urban data bank. So anything you want about regarding urban area issues, you could get it from our urban data bank, which generates data, and we also share information. Yeah. So
talking about data, and you want to mention what is Murni Nets is all about.
Murni Nets is one of, we were talking about happiness index. So happiness index is actually within the Murni Nets framework.
Okay.
Murni Nets is actually simply is sustainable development indicators framework.
I see.
I think every country has theirs.
Okay.
And our own homegrown Murni Nets is sustainable development indicators, which covers not only urban but also rural areas. So we have indicators. We have 36 indicators. That describes again sustainability, social, environment, and economy and governance together there. And every year also we can actually rank local authorities where they are. Are they sustainable?
Right.
So that is also very interesting. You know, a lot of local authorities make sure that they input in their information.
So you grade them.
We grade them. We grade and we rank them. So it's not only to identify who are the who are the best, who are the winners, but the most important thing, who are the ones who are lagging.
I see.
And like
and given some help.
Given some help, and also where, because out of the 36 indicators, for instance, this local authority, is very ranked very low.
Right.
Yeah, maybe because of we have an indicator that says how much do you score on flood prone areas. So if they suffer a lot, you could you give some attention. Yeah, so there are local authorities who use this Murni Net to ask for funding.
I see.
Yeah, so that is also quite a good
so they have a good backup for them to actually find fundings based on the results that you have from the Murni Net.
Yes, yes, and they have done that. So this is very useful.
Right.
To not only to rank but also to find the gaps.
I see.
In local authorities as per sustainable development.
Okay, and we're also almost to the end of the program right now. So, Datin Paduka, if you want to, wish people happy day, and if you want to advise them, if they need more info or being part of the community, where and how do they do it?
Yeah. Perhaps can I just very quickly on this what we do in the COE, because we had just now we did community activities, urban gardening. We also hold conferences. We had recently held international conference on urban well-being and happiness, and we are also doing community talks. One Malaysia Youth Cities also we're doing that, and walkability also is very important. So we have walkability plans for Kota Kinabalu, for instance, and other guidelines.
Right. But if they need more information, where can they go?
They can go to our website, www.townplan.gov.
Okay, one word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So perhaps my last words for the International Day of Happiness.
Right.
Yeah. So we have to move not from just solely concentrating on the economy,
money,
on on material, to the more delicate, softer, subjective part, which is people. So people-centric, the well-being and happiness. And I think even though it is a challenge, trying to balance these two, we must try. We must keep on trying.
Right. Yeah. And I think the most important thing is to work together
Yes.
to create a happy place.
Sure.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Datin Paduka, for
Thank
being
you.
with us.
Thank you so
talking
much.
about what is International Day of Happiness is all about. And thank you so much for tuning in to Hello Malaysia. And until we'll meet again real soon, with that, I'm Surati Sanusi. Goodbye.